TV. I was just wanted to at least send my condolences to the Carter family. Um, so let me let y'all watch it. Okay, 1 second. All right, here we go.
You might know the 39th president started receiving home hospice care in February of last year. He and wife Rosalind Carter were married for 77 years before she died. He passes away as the longest living president in U.S. history. And MSNBC's Jose Diaz-Balart gives us a look back at his life and legacy.
My name is Jimmy Carter, and I'm running for president.
Jimmy Carter's election in 1976 confounded the conventional political wisdom. Until that year's Iowa caucuses, in which he trounced his better-known rivals, Carter was virtually unknown outside of his native Georgia. He grew up in Plains, Georgia, in a farm that lacked electricity and indoor plumbing. He attended the U.S. Naval Academy, served as a Navy lieutenant, and then came home to run the family peanut farm. He met Rosalind Smith, the woman who would become not only his wife, but his closest friend and advisor. Carter entered politics, serving 2 terms in the Georgia State Senate.
I, Jimmy Carter, do.
And in 1970, he was elected governor. In his inaugural address, he made it clear there was a new breeze blowing through the South.
The time for racial discrimination is over.
Would our first challenger enter and sign in, please?
But outside of Georgia, Carter remained largely unknown, even stumping the panelists during an appearance on What's My Line back in 1973. Just a year later, he announced he was running for president. This political outsider and born-again Christian was a welcome change for a public disillusioned with its leaders in the wake of Watergate and other scandals. In the general election, Carter narrowly defeated President Gerald Ford, becoming the first president from the Deep South in almost a century.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
In the first sign this would be a down-to-earth presidency, Jimmy Carter walked the entire way from the Capitol to the White House during the inauguration. Austerity was in the air.
There's no way that I or anyone else in the government can solve our energy problems if you are not willing to help.
Once in the White House, however, Carter's lack of experience in Washington politics became a severe handicap. The independent-minded Congress failed to approve some of his most important legislative initiatives. Indeed, for many, he dealt with matters of foreign policy much more skillfully than he did domestic. He was firm in his commitment to human rights.
No member of the United Nations can claim that mistreatment of its citizens is solely its own business.
When the Soviet Union sent troops into Afghanistan in 1979, Carter responded with punitive measures against the Soviets, including a trade embargo. But one of his actions seemed to anger Americans as much as it did the Russians.
I have given notice that the United States will not attend the Moscow Olympics.
The major achievement of the Carter presidency was the signing of the Camp David Accords in September of 1978. Carter brought Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin and Egyptian President Anwar el-Sadat together for 11 days. The Camp David Accord served as the basis for a treaty signed by Begin and Sadat 6 months later in Washington. Jimmy Carter faced his toughest test of all when Americans were taken hostage in Iran in November of 1979. This time, neither his resolve nor the power of the American government was effective enough in gaining freedom for these hostages. Carter's boldest effort met with tragedy in the Iranian desert.
Late yesterday, I canceled a carefully planned operation which was underway in Iran for later withdrawal of American hostages.
By making the release of the hostages the overriding goal of his final year, Carter jeopardized his prospects for re-election. Things were hardly better at home as the economy continued to deteriorate.
Please hit the subscribe button, y'all. This is Valentine TV.
The erosion of our confidence in the future.
Carter's popularity plummeted. He blamed the country's problems on a crisis of confidence. His weakness brought a challenge from Senator Ted Kennedy for the Democratic nomination in 1980. Carter survived the battle, but he went into the fall campaign greatly weakened.
I'll bring new hope to America.
His opponent, Ronald Reagan, campaigned tirelessly to restore America to its former position of greatness. Jimmy Carter lost in a landslide. In 1982, he established the Carter Center, committed to advancing human rights and promoting democracy around the world.
All right, I see everybody leaving. But yeah, I just wanted to say rest in peace. Former President Jimmy Carter passes away at the age of 100. Lord. All right, and that's it. That's Valentine TV. Y'all, please hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you so much. I love y'all. Be safe out there because things are not what they seem. All right, bye. Wait a minute.